All right, music fans, welcome back. Harmless Dave here, talking about real music in real time for some real people out there, just like you right there, just like me right here. All right, I'm going to be talking about Kevin Cronin on American Idol. All right, I don't watch American Idol. Somebody asked me, "You're gonna tune in to watch Kevin Cronin?" I go, "What? Where? When?" Anyway, wanted to talk about this. This is the Rich Rath Project 313. Someone sent this to me because they thought I'd give it a plug, and I did. And because I'm talking about REO Speedwagon, Kevin Cronin, and the song Take It on the Run, which was written by Gary Richrath, I figured I'd give these guys a plug in case you didn't know this band existed. Uh, this is Michael Johns, who started the REO connection when he became lead singer for Gary Richrath. And they toured for over a decade as the Gary Richrath Band, playing songs that Gary had written for REO and original material. Michael and his band, Rich Rath Project 313, continue to honor the memory of the late Gary Richrath at every show, which is a good thing because Gary was a beast of a guitar player and a decent songwriter. So decent that his song was performed on American Idol. And a couple of people have reached out to me and they're like, "What happened to Kevin Cronin?" First of all, Kevin Cronin was paired with this guy, Zachariah Smith. All right. And Zachariah Smith used an expression that my father used to use, sang Kevin Cronin under the table. It was just not a good thing for Kevin Cronin. Kevin Cronin's voice has lost all of its lower register qualities. And it's very in here and it's very mousy. That's the word that keeps popping into my brain. The same thing, by the way, is happening to Don Barnes of 38 Special. Not to the same degree, but pretty similar. Both of those guys, Don Barnes and Kevin Cronin, in their heyday, were just great singers because it came from down here and it was just more balanced. And Kevin's pacing on certain songs in concert, not necessarily during this American Idol performance, but his pacing is almost like he's got to catch up. He's behind. He's got to catch up with the song. I did see REO Speedwagon, I think, back in 2010, maybe 2011, in that time frame. And they were still pretty good. They had released an album a couple of years before that, and it kind of restarted and rejuvenated the band to some degree. But I mean, under the category of how long can people keep doing this, keep in mind REO Speedwagon has zero original members since keyboardist Neil Dowdy decided that he didn't want to tour anymore. 76 years old, is just like, you know what, I'm done. And they replaced him with somebody that he knew or somebody who was close to the band, and they keep chugging along. Funny how I don't hear anybody complaining about that, but I hear people complaining about Mick Jones and Foreigner. Yeah, I know Mick Jones is like the architect of Foreigner, but you could say the same thing about Neil Dowdy's keyboard playing as being extremely important to the REO sound, especially in the old days, and even on their really successful albums. Anyway, getting back to the performance, it was a little cringeworthy for me. Now, a lot of people won't hear that or see that, and I know I'm doing the Simon Cowell. If you're gonna now, Simon Cowell isn't a judge on American Idol anymore, but Katy Perry is, and I don't know what they thought of this performance. I don't think this guy won. They should have probably paired him with somebody else, but his singing was fantastic, I thought. Zachariah Smith, Is it Zechariah Smith? Yeah, Zechariah Smith, paired with Kevin Cronin on the Gary Richrath classic, Take It on the Run. And Kevin Cronin kind of took it on the chin. You might want to call REO Speedwagon like REO Slow Wagon now. Something. It's just hanging on, folks. A lot of these bands, we have to be honest. I know a lot of people will approach me in different areas now. I'm on Truth Social and Patreon, and they get mad because I'm just I'm a little bit of a curmudgeon at this point. When somebody says, "What'd you think of that?" and they're trying to kind of put a happy face on something because it's something. This is why I listen to a lot of new material, and I'll go back in time and listen to the original stuff that these bands recorded. REO, I was talking about the album Good Trouble the other day. The most forgotten about album probably in history. That was the follow-up to High Infidelity. And the record label did squat to promote it compared to High Infidelity. And it could have been almost as big, I think, but it wasn't. And okay, fine. And that's the kind of stuff I like to go back and listen to. There's so much of that music that has been memory hold, focus tested, as I like to say. This performance will do a couple of things, though, for REO Speedwagon. Downloads, so the estate of Gary Richrath, if they haven't sold the rights to somebody else, probably will enjoy a nice little bump in sales, although most people just stream everything these days, so I'm not sure it's going to be all that helpful. And, when REO goes out on the road, they can say, hey, we were just on American Idol, or Kevin was just on American Idol, and this guy, Zechariah Smith, loses. Maybe he'll go out on the road and sing with REO. I don't know. Maybe he'll open up for REO Speedwagon. I mean, REO is nice in that way that they will have new and upcoming bands occasionally open up for them. I think that should be across the board a policy that is implemented. But, the audience, they'll just be hanging out by the beer tent, hopefully not the Bud Light tent, but hopefully they would actually come back and listen to something prior to REO, something different, something new. And when you hear REO, I tell you, it's not your dad's REO Speedwagon, okay? Could be your granddad at this point, I don't know, but it's not his. I mean, Kevin Cronin from the mid 70s, when he really took hold of that band, probably through the entire decade of the 80s, into the early 90s. Things started to change a little bit in the 90s vocally for Kevin. But I think he held it together pretty well up until about maybe 2015. That's what I would say. I just think it's aging, it's mortality, plus you're singing all the time. And either your voice is going to mature or it's going to wear out. Vocal cords are a strange thing. Singers will tell me, well, a lot of it's genetic, but a lot of it is practice and certain exercises you have to do. Kevin's just really up in here somewhere, and it's different. I mean, go do an A/B comparison. Go take a clip of that version of Take It on the Run with Zechariah Smith and go back and listen to the original. And it almost sounds like a different vocalist. And that's when it gets kind of painful as a fan, because like I said the other day, nostalgia does not replace, it just can't. Nostalgia doesn't replace ability. If the person you're seeing just doesn't do what they used to do, and you're telling yourself that they're great, they're fine, this is awesome, it's wonderful, I'm glad I spent $150, I can't wait to buy $14 beer, a t-shirt for $40, yeah, I'm gonna have a great time. I don't know. See, this is why I stay home. I'd rather go down to the dive bar and hear a blues band that plays their own instruments, maybe not big hit songs, maybe not familiar to a lot of people, but I'm there to hear music. and I'm there to hear like well done, um, just organic people who can actually sing, even if vocally they're not as good as some of these guys were in their prime. It's more honest, and I'm not distracted. I mean, when I'm listening to that, I'm hearing the original song in my head going, oh man, this is just so far removed from that. Some people will say, what are you talking about? It's not that far removed, and you're overdoing this. But in any event, this is what happens when somebody says, check out Kevin Cronin on American Idol. And I did. All right, Rich Rath. This is pretty cool. This is the band that Gary basically was fronting. It's called the Rich Rath Project 313. There's music out there, obviously, to purchase and to stream. And I believe they still are out there touring, paying tribute to one of the most unheralded and underrated guitarists in the history of rock music. I'm serious. I mean, I put him up there with like Terry Kath. Terry Kath was heralded, and people knew how great Terry was, and they talked about how great Terry was. Not in the same way that Gary Richrath gets credit, because Gary deserves a whole lot more credit than he does. And because REO Speedwagon will likely never get into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, he may not get honored the way he should be honored. All right, that's my humble opinion there. Don't forget also about Modern Retro Radio. I try to give them a shout out on every video. You want to hear the music of yesterday and today? You want to hear new stuff by classic artists that doesn't suck? Yeah, Modern Retro Radio. Check it out. It's good stuff. I'll put the link in the description so you can go stream it on all your devices. All right, people. Don't forget I'm on Truth Social. Don't forget also about helping out the channel if you can. We're trying to stabilize the algorithm right now. It's been dropping. If you care about the content here, seeing more of it, and you want to help me out, $1 a month, $2 a month, whatever you can afford. I know I've got some people coming on board at $5 a month. If you know any wealthy donors, that would be fine. Because then I wouldn't have to keep begging people. But and I wouldn't even care what happened to the algorithm, and I could say even more crazy stuff. Because that's what I do. I say crazy stuff, and then people react, and then I look at the view count, and it's just like that hockey stick going the wrong way. So anyway, folks, thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you soon.